The Central Bank of Nigeria agreed to leave interest rates for its development finance or intervention funds at 5% per annum until March 2023. The decision to leave interest rates for agriculture, health, power, manufacturing sectors at 5% indicates the Apex Bank's desire to continue to stimulate economic growth in key sectors, which it is funding whilst allowing rate increases for other sectors. According to the CBN, it has continued to fund activities across several sectors of the economy as part of its development finance activities. The funding comes through loans from the CBN through commercial and developmental banks, and they are what attracts the 5% interest rate tenors for about 10 years. And joining us to assess the prospects of this development on the non-oil sector is Gospel Obele, a research and development economist. Hello, Gospel. Good to have you on board. Hello, Gospel. Can you hear me? All right. I guess we are having a challenge hearing Gospel. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hi. I missed the other parts of the question. I can hear you now.
All right, that's good. I haven't asked any question anyway. Well, let's talk about the Central Bank of Nigeria. It has decided to leave interest rates for its development finance activities at 5% per annum until March 2023. What are the prospects for growth in these sectors?
Yeah, so it's a pretty fair initiative in the sense that those rates were left unchanged because the central bank also wanted to watch or sort of like measure the impact of its financing and investment, coming from the coronavirus pandemic in those sectors. Yeah, we expect that those sectors will pick up. I mean, most of the times these sectors pick up not necessarily or fundamentally because of one policy action, but because you have a strong demand response side, that currently influences market activities or economic activities in those spaces. However, that's to say that it will take both the central bank activities and other market forces to enable the result we want to see. But I mean, the story is still developing in context to measure in the next 1 year or in the next 9 months to find out if really leaving the rates at 5% was.
All right, Gospel. Okay, I think he was saying that the story is still developing, and then with time we'll get to know if leaving it at 5% is good enough. Can you hear me now? Hello, Gospel. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
All right. So now you've talked about, are you done talking, or you still want to go ahead and say more on that particular one?
Yeah, so I mean, I was just trying to reinstate that these sectors need beyond just interest rate dynamics, to kickstart them. However, they've been productive primarily based on the fact that they are resilient in nature, and to a large extent, those are the factors that will likely determine the nature of the outcome at the end of the day. Beyond just one policy action.
Okay, now you've talked about the fact that it's beyond one policy action. So what other policy actions are you looking at?
Generally would mean to create the necessary enablers for doing business. Those are the major conversations here. So depending on the sector, but then you understand that a few things are underlining. Key infrastructure is underlining, enabling business environments in the lining, right? And ensuring that there's some form of access to markets for critical players in these sectors. Those are the major concerns, especially being the fact that there are also non-oil sectors in the sense. All right, so once we can have those three things in place, then we can begin to talk about a productive growth or productive recovery. So it's not just recovery, but we're thinking about productive recovery or some form of sustainable recovery for these sectors. Those are my thoughts.
All right, now let's look at Nigeria's non-oil sector growing by 6.08% year-on-year in real terms. That was in the first quarter of 2022, and then an increase of 5.28 points from the preceding quarter, which recorded a growth rate of 3.58%, compared to the rate recorded same quarter of 2021 and 1.34% points higher than the fourth quarter of 2021. What do you think we did right as a country? What did the country do right?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, the non-oil sector is very fundamental to the Nigerian economy. And let's not forget that a lot of activities in that sector borders heavily on the day-to-day spending dynamics of the average Nigerian, meaning that within the context of non-oil sectors are a lot of non-elastic consumables, that whether or not government takes a particular action, all right, activity in those sectors would happen, and at a particular level would be resilient enough, all right, to stir growth and develop growth, particularly, in a particular in a particular trajectory at the end of the day. So in my thoughts, I would think, okay, what did we do right would be the fact that we have a very solid market base. Again, those markets need to be developed, all right, to be able to ensure there is some form of response, when you look at it from a foreign exchange standpoint and all of that. But significantly, I think we've leveraged a lot on our market development, as it were, as a country, to stir or kickstart growth in these sectors.
All right, now the single digit initiative is something that a lot of players in some of the sectors have commended. But then how can we fully maximize this?
The only way we can maximize this is providing the items I stated earlier on, ensuring that the basics for enabling business environment is right in place. The infrastructure, the markets, the key structural solutions and enablers are in place. Once those things are in place, then sustainability is in view.
Absolutely. All right, now what are some of the challenges that can slow the growth of these sectors, and how can we address this? I mean, we've been talking about what's making it work and all of that, but what are the things that can actually slow down this sector?
Very lack of functional policies, lack of structural, a lot of structural deficits as well, and then the insecurity challenges we have, and the global uncertainties as well. So those are major big-ticket items that are frustrating the growth and development of key non-oil sectors in Nigeria at the moment.
All right, so what's your outlook for the non-oil sector in the second quarter?
It will still be positive. Like I mentioned, the growth is really powered by a lot of resilient activities within the sectors. So it will still be positive to a very large extent. However, it's further threatened by inflationary pressure and the geopolitics conversation between Russia and Ukraine, technically.
All right, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
All right, we've been speaking with Gospel Obele, and we had a great time listening to him. Thank you. Do have a great day.